But I don't like, like sometimes you do a show and you get a laugh from people and you think, that didn't feel right to me. I don't want to pander to the audience.
No.
I don't want to. So I'm happy to go to a red state.
Right. And quite frankly, there is more to make fun of on the left in the last 5 years. I mean, I see it in your book too. People ask me that all the time. Why do you make fun of the left more? Because you're providing comedy for a comedian. That's why.
The exchange between Bill Maher and David Sedaris on Real Time with Bill Maher was a sharp yet revealing moment that underscored the tension between comedy, politics, and audience expectations. When Bill Maher pressed David Sedaris about performing in conservative states, the acclaimed humorist pushed back against the assumption that red state audiences are inherently hostile to his work. David Sedaris argued that in every state, there exists a diverse audience, both liberal and conservative, who appreciate his humor, though he remains wary of pandering to certain factions. Bill Maher, known for his own brand of political satire, challenged that perspective, suggesting that in recent years there has been more material to lampoon on the left than on the right. Their back and forth reflected a broader conversation about how comedians navigate an increasingly polarized cultural landscape, where every joke risks being interpreted through a political lens.
It's a blue archipelago, right? All the cities are blue. If you just want to talk to Democrats, you just go to cities, right? Regardless of the state. Yeah.
Right, exactly. I mean, Alabama. I played Mobile, Alabama, and
the only thing, you got to bring your own hotel though when you go to Mobile.
One of the times I was in Alabama, I swear there was a bass fishing something the same night, and I was going out to the show, and there was I swear to God, there was a large crowd walking one way that I could tell was for the bass fishing. I won't go into details. And then my crowd was going in the opposite direction, and it could have been any city in the country.
David Sedaris's perspective also underscores the idea that political divisions, while significant, do not entirely dictate what people find humorous or entertaining. His experiences suggest that comedy can transcend partisan lines, with audiences responding to the relatability of personal storytelling rather than rigid ideological alignment. This viewpoint contrasts with a broad media narrative that assumes stark cultural divides between red and blue America, reminding us that within any given state, audiences are complex and varied. Furthermore, David Sedaris's remarks reflect a resistance to pandering. While he welcomes all kinds of audiences, he remains mindful of the nature of the laughter he receives, recognizing that not all reactions to humor are equal. This shows an awareness of the performer's role in shaping comedic narratives, where intention and reception must align for the work to maintain its integrity. By refusing to tailor his material to preconceived notions of what an audience might want, David Sedaris asserts a commitment to authenticity in his storytelling. His experiences suggest that comedy, at its best, bridges divides rather than deepens them.
Okay, what do you make of Xi and Putin's meeting? Well, boy, they exchanged friendship bracelets, didn't they? Xi and Putin. You go first, but then I'll tell you.
I think that's the biggest and scariest news of the week. While we're all scared about, I don't know, we're worried about trans swimmers or worried about our kid marrying a Republican, the real threat is an Axis power forming between Russia and China, and it should be scary. China of today is different than China of 10 years ago, and they're not a competitor, they're adversaries and maybe even enemies. The swing vote will be India, but we should absolutely it should have sent chills down the spine of every American seeing those two together.
Well, I was mentioning on the show that in the 20th anniversary of the Iraq War.
Yeah.
I think this is a result of that. I think, in the sense that Xi and Putin see America, they saw 20 years ago we invaded a sovereign country.
Yeah.
I mean, we would make the case that we had reasons that Putin doesn't have in going into Ukraine, but that's not how they see it. So their view is, and yes, China and Russia never had any love for each other. Even during the Cold War, when they were both communists, and they should have been allied closer, it was very frosty. But their idea is we have to just be, number one is to be anti-America. America is the one who's trying to bully the world We've seen it over and over again, and we have to line up against them. That, I think, is the scary part, is because they're going to get more people to join in on that premise.
Yeah, and I think that there's the eternal folly that wars are won quickly, which we learned twice that wasn't true recently. And I think that the Russian engagement in Ukraine is going to last for many, 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 many years to come, weakening that state considerably. And it's terrifying. I don't know.
This section features a discussion between Bill Maher and Scott Galloway, with Anne-Marie Slaughter weighing in on the growing alliance between China and Russia, a development that highlights deep concerns about shifting global power dynamics and the potential threats this partnership poses to U.S. foreign policy. They frame the strengthening ties between Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin as one of the most alarming geopolitical shifts in decades. While domestic political debates in the U.S. focus on culture wars and ideological conflict, a far more consequential realignment is happening on the world stage. One key point raised is that China and Russia, historically not close allies, even during the Cold War, are now uniting under a shared opposition to the United States. Their cooperation is not necessarily rooted in ideology but in strategic necessity, as both nations view America as a global hegemon that must be countered. This adversarial stance, they argue, is fueled in part by historical grievances, including the U.S. invasion of Iraq, which weakened America's moral authority in denouncing Russia's invasion of Ukraine. A particularly striking concern is the potential for China and Russia to gain broader international support in forming an anti-American coalition. If other nations align with them for economic or strategic reasons, U.S. diplomatic leverage could weaken. The panelists also highlight India as a potential swing state, with its position in this global divide holding the power to tip the balance. Finally, they note that Russia's prolonged war in Ukraine is likely to drag on for years, weakening Russia, keeping tensions high, and reshaping global alliances.
Okay, Kirsten Cinema. Kirsten or Kirsten?
Kirsten.
Okay. Kirsten, see? I got it. Kirsten Cinema. She's a senator from Arizona. She's now an independent, right? She was elected as a Democrat, but was not quite Democratic enough for the party, or liberal enough, so she's an independent. Recently said she's not going to eat in the cafeteria anymore because it's just old dudes eating Jell-O. Did you know this? No. Well, I'm telling you. See, aren't you glad you listened to this show?
You know what? I lost so much weight eating Diet Jell-O.
Really?
Jell-O's great.
I don't think that's the point she was going for, but as a tangential topic.
Is regular Jell-O like a lot of calories
in it? Yeah.
Well, sure, it's all sugar like everything else.
I thought about it.
But Diet Jell-O, it's 40 calories for the whole box, and you're feeling hungry, and you eat 2 boxes of Jell-O, and you're full, and it's 80 calories.
Jell-O. We drink it here on CNN. We have it.
Kirsten Cinema's remark about avoiding the Senate cafeteria because of old men eating Jell-O may sound lighthearted, but it doubles as a sharp critique of America's aging political class. While humorous on the surface, the comment spotlights a deeper generational divide in U.S. governance. The discussion sparked by her remark underscored the disparity between the age of elected officials and the general population. The average American is 38 years old, while the average U.S. legislator is 64. This imbalance raises questions about whether the government truly represents younger generations. Panelists noted how the dominance of older politicians often skews policy toward issues that benefit older voters, like Social Security adjustments, while sidelining initiatives such as expanding the child tax credit, which would provide relief to younger families. The conversation also pointed out how political power remains concentrated among long-entrenched leaders, limiting the influx of fresh perspectives. Interestingly, Kirsten Sinema remains one of the few politicians who still manages to surprise the public, largely due to her independent streak and willingness to critique both parties. Yet her cafeteria quip may also reflect a growing frustration among younger and independent lawmakers, who feel increasingly disconnected from Washington's entrenched leadership.